Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy New Year and all that good stuff. We are back. Thank you for joining us. Hope you all had a pleasant and safe holiday. Now y'all got to try to keep warm. Oh man, 27 degrees in New York. Oh yeah, we're getting into it. Welcome to tonight's special John Q Live. We have a special guest with us tonight to get into a case that we have been covering for a little over 2 years now. And it's gotten to a point to where we've got to focus in on getting this story out there, constantly out there. Much love to everyone joining us here tonight. Let's see who we have in the building. Do a little roll call real quick. I know we got Miss Justice in the building. Much love to you, Miss Justice, for holding it down in blue. Miss Marty is in the building. Miss Angel is in the building. PM Channel is in the building. Tracy Saunders Mayo is in the building. Charlene Green is in the building. All right. The Edwards wins. The Edward, new subscriber. Well, thank you. You're here for Daniel. Yes, we all are tonight. Welcome, Edwins. Different way to spell that. I'm learning something new. Nikki Lynn is in the building. Sabrina Marshall is in the building. Aries 1, Miss Aries, much love to you, is in the building. Miss Tina is in the building. Yes, much love to all the kings and queens that are joining us here tonight for a special live. We've been talking about the Daniel Robinson case. It's a young 25-year-old field geologist for New Matrix World Water Company that went missing June 23rd of 2021. As I said, he went missing 8 days after Summer Wells. And so now we're going on 3 years. And both of these persons have not been found. 5-year-old Summer Wells has been missing since June 15th, and Daniel Robinson has been missing since June 23rd. And it's like the streets are silent. And so tonight, we're going to be getting into as much details as possible. We've got an update concerning Daniel Robinson's case. And to begin tonight's update, let's go to the news. This was done 6 months ago by News Nation. I was able to find an update that they did. At least they're still on the story. So let's get right into it. Thank y'all for coming.
Last time anyone saw him, he was leaving his work site. He was a geologist, young, vibrant, handsome, had his whole life ahead of him. And that whole scene right there, Arizona desert, he was leaving the job site. It was June 23rd, 2021, almost 2 years ago to the day. And he was on his way away from the well site, 35 miles outside Phoenix, driving his Jeep Renegade. Nothing seemed odd. Dad had spoken to him, right beforehand. Nothing seemed odd. And then no one heard from him again. And then that's what the Jeep Renegade looked like. And here's the strange part about that. Daniel's nowhere near that crash, okay? But all of his belongings are scattered outside, like his clothes, cell phone, keys, wallet, all outside the vehicle. And an expert that was hired by Daniel's dad, they found the data from the Jeep's computer, like the black box, said that somebody started that Jeep more than 40 times after the airbags deployed, and that someone drove it more than 11 miles after it first crashed. All very strange. And then today, we're getting new information. The data from Daniel's cell phone says that his phone was at the crash site for more than an hour after Daniel was last seen. The search on his personal and work computers and iPad showed Google searches. I don't know what to make of this, but here they are. Quote, delete Instagram account. The word explosion. The expression, love changed me. The phrase, shooting Tempe, as in Tempe, Arizona. And the phrase, I'm okay to do things I hate. Those were the searches. Still pretty mystifying. FBI's involved. Brand new team actually has gotten up to speed on this search. And then here's a strange thing. Someone claims to have run into Daniel the day he disappeared. And when police investigated that, they said that the data from the Jeep and the cell phone doesn't line up with that. I want to bring in David Robinson. David is Daniel's father. He has made it his quest and mission to find his son, and he's been a friend of the program. Every time I speak with you, my heart just breaks, David. You've worked so hard. You moved to Arizona at one point to continue the search for your son. Have you found anything since the last time we've spoken in your travels to Arizona and in your conversations with the police and regarding this new information that's released?
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. Yes, I have been finding some information. I was able to speak with the mayor of Tempe as well as the chief of police of Tempe Police Department. I was able to get them to do the electronics on Daniel's belongings. While getting those information back, some of those things went together with my private investigator who noticed, when he was able to get access to Daniel's apartment, somebody was fumbling around in the apartment. And then we also realized through the, like I say, Tempe Police Department doing the forensics on the electronics, that someone was doing searches on Dane's computer after the vehicle showed up at the crash scene. So we put those two things together. We got some little information back from that as well.
What do you make, David, of the search information? I'm trying to put it together. I can't think of what it could mean. Delete Instagram account, the word explosion, love changed me, shooting Tempe, and I'm okay to do things I hate. Did anything resonate with you as his dad?
Not at all. I have spoken to my son 2 days prior to him going missing. And we had our normal conversations. It was 2-hour long conversations. My son do ask questions. He's a very inquisitive young man because he had dreams and aspirations. But none of those things match up to anything that I have heard from Daniel from my last time. But not knowing Daniel's computer and what he searched and things like that, I can't really speak on that one.
What about this new FBI team that's getting up to speed? Have you been working in concert with them?
Well, I was out advocating for law enforcement to get the FBI involved. As you know, my son's vehicles is either on federal land or in very close proximity. We found human remains out there in the area. My son went missing the crime scene, so I'm very delighted to hear that the FBI is taking a second look. I did request it one time before, and they declined, but this time I hope they continue to help in the efforts.
Well, we're under, 2 weeks from June 23rd. And as I understand it, you're planning to hold something called a virtual vigil where you're inviting everybody who's watching right now, and they can all spread the word as well. You're asking people to light a candle and then post that on their social media and tag you at Unity Candlelight Vigil, right? Unity Candlelight Vigil, all one word. If they tag you on that, and hopefully you can get that to go viral and get more attention to Daniel's missing case.
Yeah, that's right. And also, Daniel is America's son, I like to say, meaning that what happens to our family happens to many families. That's over 1,400 people go missing every day in this country. So we are not alone. So this event is for, like you say, everybody to be able to participate. But also, I will have other families that I will be highlighting. So that way, families will get their story out there, because those who are participating will also hopefully share these stories as well as Daniel's story.
David, I am wishing all the best for you. I'm sending you every prayer I can muster in your efforts. Just keep us posted and let us know how things go. And I'm also wishing the best for the 23rd as well, for the Unity Candlelight Vigil. Thanks for being on tonight. Thank you for
Okay, so there we have a 6-month ago update with News Nation. And in following this story as closely and carefully as we have Mr. David Robinson still looking for his son. The search continues to look for Daniel. Daniel now is 27 years old, going on 28 this month. 28. So it's been 2.5 years now since Daniel went missing. His Jeep was found in a 20-foot ravine out in the Sonoran Desert out in Arizona. His work site was about 2 to 2.5 miles from the location of where the Jeep was found. And David Robinson has been looking for his son ever since. So tonight, I have the special privilege and honor of bringing to you live an update with the father of Daniel Robinson, Mr. David Robinson. David.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. Good to see you. Good to have you back.
Yes, thank you for bringing me on. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. Now, are you at home or are you in Arizona?
Yes, I'm in South Carolina. I've been fortunate, thank God, to excuse me. I also know I also have this voice thing, but fortunate to spend a lot of time with the family. I was able to even go out at one for the New Year celebration, which I was really happy about, something I haven't done in a long time. But yeah, just spend a lot of time with family and friends. Despite of everything that's going on with Daniel, was able to, have that family time. Of course, it's always hard to have Daniel missing, saying not there, wishing him, happy holidays, happy, I don't actually celebrate Christmas, but just to be there for the holidays, Thanksgiving, like I said, the New Year. And as you know, as you spoke just a while ago, his birthday coming up on the 14th. So those things in combination, yes, it's very hard. At the same time, I was able to spend time with family so far. I'm really happy about that.
Right. Now, correct me now if I'm wrong. He is going to be 27 or 28?
He'll be 27. He's going on
27.
27.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure we get that straight for the record. Okay. So how have you and the family been holding up?
We're doing the best we can. It's a lot of stress to. I think this goes on with any family, especially when I talk to families. A lot of things goes on with families when a loved one is missing. Of course, not everybody's going to agree on certain terms of way things that should be handled and things like that. But ultimately, we're all in pain. The entire family's in pain, but we find ways to deal with the pain and to keep going forward.
Right. Right. So tonight I wanted to, I guess, get an update. And also, for those folks that are brand new in the audience, we've got a couple of new subscribers following the case, most likely following your channel on YouTube, as well to stay posted and close to the case, as a lot of us have. And wanted to share David's channel here. Please help find Daniel is on YouTube. And David Robinson has been updating his channel with all of his investigation on finding his son, Daniel. And if you're not subscribed to his channel, please do. One of the most important things that we are trying to keep alive is Daniel's story, which is very important. And not only his story, but all of the folks that are missing, have gone missing, mysteriously went missing, and so on and so forth. But David Robinson has been doing a masterful job just keeping his YouTube channel updated with the latest in his search for his son. So if you're not subscribed, please do hit that bell so you get the notifications. Most important in a missing person case. So I wanted to share that. So David, I know that, looking at the case from June 23rd, where everything started, if we could just back up a bit, and could you share with us a little bit about yourself, where you were raised and born, some of the things that you grew up doing, and you've got some military background. We'd like for you to share a little bit of that with us, if you can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we are as a family, we're natives of South Carolina, Columbia, the capital of South Carolina, to be specific. And I grew up there, of course. As a young man, mostly my family, we're very church oriented. Some people, the church I grew up in, my mother, she still attend. It's an apostolic church. I don't know if many people know what that is, but it's a lot of people call it Pentecostal holiness. And that's the way I grew up. And so of course I have that full dynamic of having that upbringing when it comes to God. And so that's why you guys hear me a lot of talk about faith. Of course, faith is the first teacher. One of the first things my mother taught me growing up, and I actually seen faith into action and some things that she done. I think I told a story before on my channel, and I lived on that principle ever since. And so, of course, I pass it on to my children, who also grew up in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. I went to a predominantly black school. To make a long story with this, I'm throwing it in for a reason. With my children, predominantly black school, they didn't put a lot of money into the school.
Right.
So a lot of things that we received from computers to textbooks was hand me down from the other schools, and so we wasn't able to receive the proper care that some districts would get. Said if you are not a person of color. So growing up, his mother and I, we grew up that way. Of course, I grew up from the projects, and we didn't want our children to go through the pains and things. Like, for instance, I have scars on my body to this day from police brutality. I've seen many of my friends get shot in the back. That's days. It's gonna tell my age a little, but days before we had the cell phone, where everybody hold the cell phones up and take pictures. We didn't have that. We had to watch it with our own eyes. officers get off on things. So that kind of stuff I didn't want my children to go through. So of course we put them in schools that was both cultures, black and white, mostly white. And because we want to have the best education, South Carolina allowed us to send our children no matter what district, but you have to take them there. Of course, you can't. You have to provide the ride. So we was able to get them to the schools that we want them to have a better chance at being educated, and so that's what we did. So that's what my children grew up with that. And of course, every last one of them are scientists, geologist for Daniel, siblings, computer engineer, geology, not geology, but archaeology and marine biologist. So I have the science in the family with my children. They all did what I asked them to do to spread their wings and get out of South Carolina. The world is bigger. So, just the whole dynamics of that. Really proud of that, and of course Daniel's is part of that whole dynamic. So I'm really happy about it.
Right. Now, was the relationship with the family concerning Daniel very close, very tight? You guys stayed in communication with each other at any given time or every given time?
Yes, of course, many may know, many may not. Daniel mother and I have been divorced a long time. We're high school sweethearts. We actually was little children playing together. But
Right.
we graduated from college, from high school. Of course, we started dating. We dated in high school and got married when we got out of high school sweethearts. And, of course, we had our children, but we're now divorced. But that didn't stop us from being friends. My children graduated from college to going to, especially Daniel, all these awards we had to go to. They're always in the newspaper or things going on as they're growing up. We definitely co-parent when they were growing up and things like that from two different households. But we got along very well. The children got along with both sides of the dynamics with the parents. And so, like I say, everybody got along. Whenever we do have some type of conflict, and when I say this to the public, it's true. With Daniel, he's a gift. He's a type of guy that somehow get in, and I guess when he make his phone calls to both sides in a way, he can kind of mend things back together when it comes to any kind of strife or going on in that family dynamic. So yeah, we do keep very good communication. Up to Daniel going missing. Yes.
Right, right. And do you consider Daniel to be the spitting image of you or mom or a combination of both?
Yeah, I kind of laugh when we say that because that's the thing I think about the most that I miss from my son is that he's the youngest and he strives to be just like me. And one of the things that I, even with the pain of knowing details of what's happening in this case, I see Daniel in a lot of things. When it came to, for instance, the Instacart story about the young lady. Instacart story for me is me learning about Instacart. I learned about Instacart 2 days before he went missing. He been doing Instacart for a while. I would not have known that. Even if he hadn't gone missing, if he didn't go missing, I probably would have never known that. But I didn't know that because Daniel is a person who took my word as a father. I see him try to stand in my footsteps in certain areas. And a man standing on his own 2 feet. Some of the same thing my mother taught me, the principles. A man standing on 2 feet. If you need anything, he go provide. He's a provider. If you need anything, he go work for you. You don't steal it. You don't take from anyone. You go earn it. And that's the thing that I taught Daniel and his brothers, his brother and his sisters. And and I could see that in him. I could see that in him. He was right there. That's the reason why he had a hard time telling me that he was doing Instacart. The first thing I'm asking him, why are you doing Instacart? And he was having some little financial issues with his job, so that's the reason why he was using it at the time.
Right. Okay. There you go. Independence. That's right.
Independent young
10
man.
toes down, standing up. I got you. So with I guess your military background, you did 2 tours in Afghanistan. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. So when did that happen? When did you go into the service?
Well, I went back. Oh my God, you make me feel older now. Went back when a little before 9/11 or some time before 9/11 that I decided to go. into the military. And, you know, it was a late thing for me, to be honest with you, because I started in the military. I think I was in my 30s when I joined. And they used to call me the old man. So, but the thing is, I'm to the younger guys, little 18-year-old kids. But the thing is, yes, the military, I had to do those tours in Afghanistan. The second was the longest. That was the 15-month deployment. And of course, I had to do my job there. But the biggest point of that is getting out of the military because of those things that happen within the military and because of the things that happened to me in Afghanistan, of course. But you know what? Yes, it taught me a lot. I learned a lot from the military and just being retired from that point.
Right, right. Now, how did Daniel feel about you being over in Afghanistan? Did you guys connect? Were you able to talk while you were over there?
That was very hard. I could be honest with you, John Q. That was the hardest thing for me, and I know it was hard for them as well. When you're in Afghanistan, we were relying at the time. My younger daughter, I was 16-year-old, her mother and I was together at that time, and we rely on when I say we soldiers, when you go deploy, they have us to do a power of attorney and things like that with people. We're relying on families to, for instance, give us care packages and send us certain things. And once I got there, to make a long story with that, I lost a lot of contact with everybody. So it's been like I was really there alone. I didn't have that much family support. I don't know if they didn't know where to mail off to me or something got messed up. But it was that time where I missed a lot in that time while I was in Afghanistan, like I said, just for the 15 months, and the other one was only for like 2 months, the first one. But just being over there during that time, yes, I missed a big point of talking to them during that time. But when I got back, we tried to make up for that.
Right, right. And so leaving Afghanistan and coming home, the family was thrilled, that you made it back safe and alive and sound. And what was life, I guess, getting back into the States here, home life and family life and things of that nature? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was different. I had goal to go straight to Florida. As you guys, there's no secret. I love being near the ocean and things like that. So when I retired out the military, my goal was to go straight there and get a house there. But I have a young daughter at the time. She was about six years old, and so I couldn't. Being a father, saying I couldn't go straight there and then come back to South Carolina just to visit. I have my older children that needed to see me as well. So I made that decision to go straight to South Carolina first. And when I did that, I ended up buying a house, getting a house here in South Carolina. And without thinking, hey, I want to do this Florida thing, but I did it because my children. I was being that father type guy to make sure that I'm there for my children. So of course, once I got the home here, it's hard to get them away. They was always over every chance they get. My daughters took over my room. I didn't have a room anymore. So there's
Right.
things like that. So yeah, but we met up a lot of time, made up for that missed time when I was in Afghanistan, and also Fort Hood, Texas was harder for them to see me.
Right. So moving, I guess, jumping forward a little bit, we come to Daniel's graduation, which I'm sure that you and Mrs. Robinson at that time were very proud of Daniel getting that degree, and in the field that he chose to get his education in and everything, and seeing him walk across the stage and hearing his name. And I remember the video clip where the audience was, clapping and, congratulating him and giving him a good shout out. That must have been a big time for you and Mrs. Robinson at that time.
Well, we both, of course, like I said, she and I are divorced, but we make sure that we're there for our children. And we have his sister, his twin sisters, who also was a college graduate from the College of Charleston. So of course we had to go through two graduations there at
Right.
that school. So the first one, of course, we were very excited. Daniel, excited. I was excited for two reasons for Daniel. Daniel was one of the young men, like his sister, one of the twins. She was able to, I think, something with how their degree worked. One graduate before the other. And so one was still there with Daniel a little longer for a few months or something. And she's always complained to me about Daniel's always partying, I guess, or something, so with his friends. So, to see him do so well in school, yes, I mean, that was very exciting for me, especially, when you're spending money, to make sure he get through there, through the school. And so, of course, yeah, I was happy in several ways when it comes to Daniel, So, of course, you saw the pictures as well when I had the tie on, and me and Daniel took the picture
Right.
together. That was the night I said, you know what, man, you're gonna have our first drink together, son. And that's the first night we had our drink together. Went to a little one of his little favorite spots that I didn't know he had one, and had our first drink, and but I can't tell you he ditched me after that. It's like, oh, that's my dad. I can't be seen with him. I'm gonna hang out with my friends. I was, man, just go ahead and go with your friends then. Got to that point, but
Right.
he wanted to celebrate with his friends, but definitely, yeah, like I said, yes, it was a wonderful day. Yeah, that's the picture there. We went to one of his favorite spots, and he was happy to spend that time with me. But I could tell he was ready to go with his friends. I don't know what he was up to, but he wanted to be with his friends. So I drove on back to back to Columbia from Charleston, and let him go ahead and have his fun. But yes, that was a wonderful night. That was a very good night.
Wow. Okay. So now, did he leave home right away? How did he get the job over at New Matrix World?
Well, it's two things happened simultaneously when he graduated. And one thing, maybe in the audience, someone can understand this. I never really digged into it, but he called us and told us, "Hey, look, Dad, I got to take this class in Flagstaff." I'll say class in Flagstaff. We just graduated. He got his. No, they don't give you the actual degree in your hand. They have these little fake things. I guess they come across the stage, and so we're like, okay, well, okay, great. Great, take this class, but I didn't understand why he had to take class after graduation. But he said, hey, he's taking graduation class, and then he went to they flew him out to Flagstaff to take some kind of geology class or something. And so when he did that, of course, we're as a family. That's his grandmother. You see his picture. That's one of his grandmothers. It's his mother's mother. But as he was there, he called and say, "Hey, I'm not coming back to South Carolina." And we were really shocked about it because our goal was to help him, just like we do his sisters, is to help them with the next step. Hey, look, what job you're going to get, and because they should have been doing that already, but what you're planning to do from this point with your degree. And but he said he's not coming back. He landed a job. I later found out he sent me the information. Of course, we had to dissect Matrix New World, and I was dissecting this. I wasn't being critical. I was dissecting the company that he said he wanted to work for, make sure it's great, because he told me he got hired, he got introduced to the company, hired because of his friend in college. His friend in college, one of the guys he was hanging out with, and at the school, they one of the parts of the friend group that they have. The parents own Matrix New World. His parents own Matrix New World. Daniel's a geologist. He's a geologist as well. I'm sure the son is a geologist because his parents own this kind of company. And they hired Daniel on with their company.
Okay, so was he excited about it? Getting the job, being that he had to, leave.
Yeah. Yes, he's very excited. That's his first job. Me versus me. I was very protective over his. Like I told you, we put him in the right schools, and we was overprotective. When I say overprotective, we tried to shield them from things that we had to go through as children. I was on my own since I was 16 years old. Had my own place and out there. Taking care of myself. So my son knows those stories. And so when he landed his first job, of course, I've been working since I was 7 years old. My sister and I we'll do things, even rake yards. You know how it is, John Q. When we're growing up, generation a lot different now. We go make
Oh,
money. We
yeah.
make some candy money some kind of way. We go out and rake people yards. You know, hey, we was raking people yards with their own rake. You know, stuff like that to make money. So, but the thing is, yes, that's Daniel's mother, his brother, his oldest brother. You probably can see his auntie barely in the yellow behind him, but yes. But you know, he was really happy about having this job. You know, his first job, and that was his beginning of his manhood. You know, and Daniel, like I said, he tried to mimic some things. I tell him, look, his manhood is important. Being a guy, taking care of yourselves, and you know, things like that. So yes, he's been standing up for that. That's his older brother, and you know, they've taken that picture. I think that was some time after the graduation.
Right, right. So now Daniel goes to Tempe, Arizona from the Carolinas, right?
Well, actually started Phoenix. He started in Phoenix. That's where
Phoenix.
he got a job. He was living there for a while. His sister, one of the sisters you guys hear about, she went to stay with him after a while. After I think he'd been there for a year and a half in Phoenix. So he used to live. She went to go stay there with him for a month until she found her apartment. And I laugh because he's always called me all the time about you know how siblings like, man, I can't wait till she move, you know, type deal. He misses privacy. And his
More
sister
room,
loves
more
her, you
room.
know. So once she moved, he ended up moving over to Tempe. He wanted his sister moved to Phoenix. I guess he wanted to be, even though it's a next city over, he just wanted to be closer, but not that close. So he moved to the next city into that apartment that he lived in when he went missing.
Right. Okay. So he's there in Arizona, and you guys kept tight communication, had conversations, long distance, and everything. Now, Daniel was from the time he left until the time he went missing. Had he ever come back home to visit, or did any family member go out to visit him? How was that like?
You know, it was very difficult, especially at the stay at home COVID thing. You know, everybody was at home. At least I know we were. I don't know how it was in Arizona at time, but you know, Daniel, he once they kind of lift that thing up a little, Daniel did make a travel, like I told you guys. That story is true. He flew in South Carolina and just to see his grandparents. You know, he literally, of course, you know, at the time we didn't know a lot about COVID, so you know, everybody's extra cautious, especially with the older people. I wouldn't say elderly, but older people. That's his grandparents. So what he would do is go say he's coming to visit, but talk to them through the window, you know, so he don't have to expose them to anything, you know, even though he probably didn't think he have anything, the COVID or anything like that, but you know, just protect his grandparents. That's the way Daniel is. That's his nature. So, but also he came back. I didn't get to see him until he came back. For his sister's wedding, you know, and that was a very great time. And that goes a little point. I'm throwing little TVs here too, John, Mr. Q, is that you know, see his hair here. He have a short haircut. This one time he had a big afro, and then when he came to see us in the graduation, I mean, and at the wedding, he had these lock things in his head. And I'm like, what is that in your head, boy? what kind of hairstyle is that? You know. But he's always changing. That's why I'm saying, you guys, sometimes they hear these stories with the case, say, oh, he cut all his hair off. I mean, Daniel always cutting all his hair off. I mean, it's nothing new to us as a family. He'll do things all out the blue. You know what I'm saying? That's the way. One day he'll cut his hair, the next year, I mean, his hair grow kind of quickly, so he let it grow out again, and then it's something, you know, it's always something new with Daniel. That's just the way he always been. So that's not unusual for us. So I had to throw it in real quick, but definitely, yeah, when I saw him was at the wedding.
Right. Okay. And so now, I guess just before he went missing, he had purchased his Jeep here, and
Very proud.
I guess this was his very first car out
It
there.
is. Well, no, it's not his first car. Daniel, when he got there to Arizona, like I said, he didn't come back because that's one of the things we're planning too, as well, to make sure we have his car and you know all kinds of things we plan as a parent. And you know he stayed there, and the first thing and I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. He took everything. That's one of the things I love about Daniel. He took everything that I've been teaching him. Sometimes the parents, you teach your children certain things and you don't, you wonder they actually catch these things and they actually going to do certain things. Sometimes they don't seem like they're very interested in it, and then you see them actually doing some of the things that you taught them, right? I used to have his sisters and his brother under the vehicle to teach them how to fix vehicles in case something go wrong. Make sure my daughters ain't in some situation with some guy and they can handle themselves and take care of themselves. So they learned certain things. So what Daniel did is he first the car he got was this car, this I don't know what to call it, is a raggedy car. We just call it a hoopty. That's how we talk about it in South Carolina. But
Right.
he bought one of those. I was proud of him. I look at it, I say, okay, that's probably what a boy needs, because that's what I feel. Get something that you have to that's kind of fix and repair almost daily. You learn how to fix a car. That's what I had to do growing up. So the thing is, he took care of this car because he wanted to make sure he got a car because he's tired of. He said he had to ride the coworker. He got him a car and he used that car and fixed it and did whatever he had to do to make it work on time, make sure you're on time. He's a very responsible young man. When he built his money up, he bought this car. This picture here you guys see is the picture he sent me. The public would not have had this picture. I put it out there because that's the picture he gave to me to see his car. Is very proud. We had plans that was coming out in July to the month that his vehicle showed up. Or ironically, I was gonna be there that month to see this car for the first time and get in and ride it. That's all he talked about, his vehicle. Yes, that was his first thing that he bought for himself. He's very proud. It's a part of his manhood and things like that to say, hey, look, I'm accomplishing my goals that I'm been trying to reach. And that's what Daniel's been doing. That's what he's all about, trying to reach his goals.
Right. So now the area in which Daniel worked out here in Buckeye, Arizona, is massive, land wise, just from my perspective as to how I viewed this area, his work field, if you will. And he was assigned, I guess, on the day of June 23rd, to work out of this particular area here, not too far from the Sonoran Desert. Now, the Sonoran Desert is 100,000 square miles of just that desert. And Daniel, being a field geologist, working out in these terrains here, must have been quite an experience for him. Him being adventurous, outdoors, loves nature, and everything you could imagine. Would I be right? Would I be?
Yeah. It just brought me a
saying
lot
that?
of memories in my head when you was talking about it. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because me, you ain't gonna get me outside in 100-degree
No.
heat. I'm sorry.
Well, I could do the heat, but I need some water around too at the same time, right?
Yeah, because I know Arizona can get as high as 124-degree dry heat.
Right.
And you definitely need to stay hydrated in these particular areas that Daniel worked in. Now, here we have a picture of Daniel in some of his field outfits. Definitely he's got the right gear on. You got to have a hat out there. And
you got to cover yourself. Believe it or not, people don't believe it, but you have to cover your skin as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's as brown as I am. We got some great looking suntans, if you will. But yeah, being one with nature and being free to express himself in the ways that he did. How did you get word that he went missing?
Yeah.
What was that day like? What happened there?
Well, yeah, real quick though, I want to say this real quick before I answer that.
Sure.
His spirit of being an outdoors person in the sense, Daniel, it surprises me. Saying, you see your children, they flourish to who they are when they become an adult. They have a lot more freedom to express themselves of who they are, even more so. And one of the things is, Daniel's an author, and I'm throwing this out this because the picture there you see there, I think that picture was taken with his friends in Colorado. But the thing is, he's always out there with his friends. And it's been a few times. I'm throwing this in for a reason. It's a few times that Daniel would call and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to go hiking." But okay, that's what he always does. But then he'll send me some pictures, and I'm like, "Man, this is beautiful." And he's in a crevice, some rocks or something. I don't know. And I say, "Who with you?" "Oh, I'm out here by myself." And I do a lot like it. Oh man, you can imagine how I feel when I'm in South Carolina. I say, he's a guy, but I'm thinking about my son. Like, okay, first of all, you out here by yourself. So no one's around. No, I'm out here and I enjoy this. And I mean, but the cell phone working, you know. So, but a part of me is like, why you didn't take your sister or this certain thing? So he do enjoy going out into naturist things and just taking these pictures and it's some beautiful stuff. I never seen these beautiful rocks. He was always in love with Sedona, for instance, and he wanted me to go there bad. I finally went, and I see why. But yeah, but I'm just saying, I just throw it out. But the day Daniel went missing, like I told you guys, being retired military, I retired because of my injuries. I was medically retired, and and one of the things is trying to get past these because I retired for some years before Daniel went missing, and I finally got to a point where you can let some of these experiences go in some areas. You kind of find ways to deal with a lot of people who's been in military experience like I have. Combat situations. About PTSD and things like that. So you
Right.
get you kind of get to a point where you try to be comfortable with life when it comes to certain things. And I was there. My average year would be to always. I'm always at the water, man. I'm telling you, I'm always on the beach, man. And because I love water. And the thing is therapeutic when I'm doing certain things in the yard, for instance. But then I got that call that evening. I'm sitting back in my favorite spot at my home here, and I get this call from my daughter. It wasn't strange to see her call because always I talk to my other children too, his sisters and his brother, and call and see how she thought she was gonna just call and see how I'm doing, but she was sounding really upset on the phone. What's going on? Yeah, some guy came to her house, her apartment, and said he was looking for Daniel, looking for him. Like, what you mean? She said, yeah, I don't know. First of all, she didn't know how he knew it, where she lived. She said that he told her that Daniel brought him there before, but she don't know. She don't remember him. But the fact is that she's like, what he's looking for him? Why is he looking for him? So of course, uh, you know, like I said, do due diligence. My mind is always that way. I'm far from my daughter. She decided to go live up there in Arizona too, and so I want to make sure she was okay, mentally and everything else. So we had to calm her down, and make sure she's straight first, and let's go
Right.
ahead and think about this thing and find out what's really going on. Of course, we're calling friends that she know if he have any out there or any of the other ones in college. Did anybody hear from them? Called family members. She called her mother, and I called her mother as well. But call certain family members and see if anybody heard from them. Nobody have. Okay, so we had to start sending her over to his apartment because to see if he was there. Of course, she went there, and his vehicle was. I mean, I'm talking to her on the phone when she get there. Call me when you get to the complex, for instance, and give him the updates. And yeah, his vehicle wasn't there. She said, "Hey, look, I can see through his patio windows. I could see a light on in the living room." We thought that was strange because it just on, and his vehicle was gone. But why he got his light on in the daytime when he's always gone, he always have his lights off. So that was she was saying. So one of the thing is, so I do want to do due diligence, and then of course the thought came into my mind to, once we exhausted all our leads, call law enforcement. Hey, look, we think something's not really right. Can they just do a simple? When we say he was missing, I just wanted him to do a Tempe Police Department to do a welfare check. Hey, we only could see but a limited space. Is it possible that law enforcement go in? I wanted to call. I'm telling you guys, it was hard meeting me call to do that because I'm in South Carolina. Like I told you, I have a history of police brutality. I have these bruises on my body for life from police brutality, and my mind would think, with everything going on with law enforcement, that I'm sending law enforcement to help Daniel, and they somehow shoot him, and I'm not there to protect them. And so it was
Right.
kind of hard thought for me to even ask them, could they do a welfare check? But they did not. They declined it. Do the welfare check.
And this is Tempe
Tempe Police
Police.
Department. Right. Yes. Yes.
Mm,
They declined
okay.
to do so, and they said I guess because I mentioned White Tank Mountains at that time, I never heard of Sun Valley Parkway, so I never mentioned Sun Valley Parkway. I just said White Tank Mountains because some of the guys I was asking around, did they see him? They say, well, he's working lads at this White Tank Mountain area. And so when they said that, I mentioned the word White Tanks to Tempe, and they said they bucked it off to Buckeye. And so that's how Buckeye ended up getting involved.
Okay. And also, too, I want to mention that Daniel, being as, outdoorsman, being in his profession, um, you know, he is missing a right hand. So, how did that happen, David?
He was born that way. Of course, it was devastating. I'm there for the birth of my children. That's special to me, important to me.
Okay.
And of course, the first thing we're as a parents, you always, well, I don't know how all parents is, but I know for me, his mother was to pray that they come with everything, all their
Right.
faculties, the limbs, etc. And then, first when I first saw it, of course, it shocked me. I had to think on my toes because when the mothers having a child, they in a vulnerable position. So, but it was very shocking to us as parents. It was something that was growing in the womb. I think it was like a cyst type deal that was pressing against Daniel's hands, where they explained to us caused
Right.
it to not to fully form. And so, and that's how he ended up that way.
Okay. Okay. But he definitely did not let it stop him being who he was. Definitely.
Of course, and the way I think about Daniel, of course, for him, it's like anything. If you're born a certain way, it's normal to you, right? It's
Right.
abnormal to him was when you start looking around and seeing everybody else have two and you only have one. Because I think in his mind, his feel your body, your brain, everything adjusts to not having that limb, right? For instance, and so Daniel, of course, as a little baby, I think it's about like 5 or 6 years old. He asked his mother where was his right hand. Of course, he was looking at his siblings. Hey, look,
Mhm.
why I don't have a hand on this one here? And so he asked his mother that, and she told him that God have it. And one day he's gonna get he said God needed or something out of it. I can't remember. There's something to the effects of that. And he needs your hand now. He has it, and he's gonna give it back to you, right?
Right.
And then once she said it to him, however she said that, he never asked about his hands ever again. Not to us as parents. Of course, we're more concerned about it than I think he was. His mother especially was trying to. I kind of caught on really faster than she did. Tried to press the prosthetics on him. She was more concerned about the other kids in school picking
Right.
on him, I guess, and things like that. But for me, Dave was showing us already real quick. I don't like him. I don't like this prosthetic. I want to be just like this. And he did. He went throughout the school. It had been a few times here and there when he actually needed the prosthetics for certain things he had to do, but he was mainly he preferred to go without.
Right. Right. So his sister had got in contact, your daughter had gotten in contact with you about that strange person who showed up at her apartment. Now, was he a coworker? Was she ever able to find out?
Well, you guys see it in the report. His name is Roger. That's one of Daniel's friends. He, of course, he came by because like he said, Daniel, he could have been in the car, I'm sure. Daniel went by there to, of course, see his sister. They always seeing each other, hanging out, or whatever.
Right.
And Roger, he came by to check. So yeah, Roger's guy for the audience that don't know who he is. He's a coworker that works with Matrix New World, but he's an office worker. He's an office worker, but he's the guy that when like I said in the story, and I say, hey, Daniel, say I'm staying in Arizona. Was wondering where he's gonna live. Oh, I'm living with a friend, and that friend was Roger with Matrix New World, who allowed him to come stay with him until he got his apartment.
Okay. Okay. And so, with you and everyone being concerned, not hearing from Daniel, you called Tempe Police and you notified them, and they declined to, I guess, your request to do a welfare check on Daniel.
Right.
Um, When did you receive word about Daniel? When was it? When was the next time you received word from him?
Well, you say word from him? I'm not following.
Yeah, in other words, when was the last time you spoke to Daniel?
Oh yeah, it was 2 days prior to Daniel going missing. He and I had our conversation. I still had that conversation, you guys. I think God is good because I do have a app on my phone, of course, that I utilize for other reasons for my business things that I do, and so one of the things is that that app would record, business calls and things like that. And
Mhm.
so I have that call. I have that call for whatever reason. It recorded our whole call, our whole 2 hour conversation. It wasn't 2 hours straight. It was 2 hour, an hour or so. And what broke it up was my dog got into it with another dog at the fence or something. I was out on the back talking to Daniel. And then I said, hey, I had to call you back. And then we finished our conversation. But that conversation was with him, he coming from that night coming from somewhere. I had suspicion he was riding with somebody, but that's another story. He's saying
Right,
he wasn't. He's by himself. He went to some local bar or something, had a couple drinks, and was heading home. And
right,
so I, talked to him till he get his apartment, basically make sure he make it home safe. And the thing was, of course, we had a conversation about the young lady, other things first, and then he was kind of beating around the bush about something, and I said, "Who is she?" That's basically how that started. I know my son,
right,
because he was wanting to tell me something, and so he told me about the young lady and both young ladies that he met that night doing the Instacart.
right. Now, what did during that last phone call you had with him? How did he sound to you? Was he himself, or uh, did it seem like he had something on his mind?
He was exactly like himself. Matter of fact, he had plans to. We talked about his plans. He had plans to go hiking that weekend with his sister.
Okay,
He was, and the conversation was started off. We were talking about his computer. He had just finished building his computer. He'd been trying. He'd been building. I'm a computer engineer major, and so he was, of course, and also he was working with Roger as well to ask advice about certain things with his computer design and how much RAM to put in and things like that. So make a long story short, he felt really good because he felt like he did this himself, and he did. He completed that, and that was one of the highlights of our conversation. Above everything else, that's what we talked about the most was that him being excited about finishing that computer, because he wanted to use that computer as his work computer as well. Because he also he's a big gamer, and he wanted to do kind of a dual thing, and so that computer can handle all of that. So that's what he was very excited about. It's nothing different. His plans, like I said, we reiterate our plans that I was coming in July to see his vehicle, and hang out with his sisters, and so of course, yeah, it was very normal. Everything's very normal.
right. So when did you find out? I guess from Buckeye Police that they took on I guess the report that you had made, or how did they connect with you? Where does Buckeye Police come in?
Well, like I said, Tempe bumped me off of the welfare check. So, after that happened, I look at the time, and as I got the phone with Tempe, they gave me the phone number to call Buckeye Police Department, and I got the phone, and I was realizing the time length that Daniel actually had last been seen, because I started going back over things I talked to his coworkers about. We were making all these phone calls, we're doing our due diligence, and it was over 6 hours. I'm like, that's not normal. That's really ring bells for me. And so at that point, I said he's missing, because it wasn't Daniel. Do not go without telling us where he's going or
Right,
where he's at. That's not Daniel. Trust me, he hasn't done that since he's been on his own. And the thing is, so that read up big old red flags for us. And so that's when I told my daughters I'm calling in to do a missing person report. And so I did that, but at the same time, I want them to still do this welfare check, because I say, what if it's foul play? Something is not right. And so,
right,
long story, that's when I called the Buckeye Police Department to put the missing person report. They asked me what time it was last seen. They said one of the coworkers says around that 9 o'clock thing. And when I said that, they told me I had to wait a full 12 hours before I can report. And I'm like, okay, so tell me, call back in 2 hours and, type deal basically. And I called back to, then they took the report.
Okay. Okay. And so you put in that report, and what went on from there?
Well, his name is Officer Cruz. He the one took the report. And of course, I'm 2,000 miles away. I'm trying to make sure my daughter's okay out there. My other daughter, she was
Right.
back here in South Carolina still, and at the time, and we all together. They're all over here, except the one in California. I mean, one in Arizona, and they was over here. His brother as well. We all trying to figure out what's going on. And you know, with with that, I forgot the question exactly. I kind of went off on a
Right.
figure out
No,
that question
that's
you
okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay. What went on from the time you filed the report?
Yeah.
Now, I guess the family is very concerned because still no word from Daniel. Time is now elapsing day after day after day.
Right.
What was that like for you? I
Right.
mean,
Exactly. Go back to that. Yeah. And I apologize to everybody with that because, for families, we have to tell these stories over and over again. Of course, it's
right,
always emotional every time and it's real painful. So I kind of went off on a zone just now because of memory zone, saying because it's a painful event. Just being, like you said, the biggest part was being afraid, especially as a father. I have my daughters looking at me in a sense. I
right,
have my son relying on me. They relying on me as their father to make sure their brother okay. That's how I felt. The weight of that. I'm just speaking
right,
on me. I'm not speaking on everybody else. I know that because they had their pains in their own individual way. And so as the leader in a sense, what do you do? What do you do at 2,000 miles away? Of course, it was very first thing we had to do was rely on law enforcement at Tempe. And I talked to Officer Cruz, very helpful. He sounded like he was very helpful. With the little I knew, it was sounded very helpful, and which he was as a genuine person. I think he really meant good. That's one officer I can say with the Buckeye Police Department. I feel was actually genuine in his efforts, right?
right,
But the thing was, I didn't know details. So once I started learning, as I was learning the details, talking to Officer Cruz, I mean, I'm up, you guys, up all night. My daughters, of course, tell them, hey, you go to bed, get ready. They had to go, they had jobs and things.
right,
Um,
right,
so, hey, look, I'm talking to Officer all night to make sure that everything's, getting updates as much as I can. I mean, I don't think an hour passed before I'm talking to Officer Cruz. And then we got a little more information. I found out from his company because I'm digging in, man. And they was telling me, hey, knows they give me details. It's in the Sonoran Desert, off of Sun Valley Parkway. And that's when I first heard the Sun Valley Parkway Road. And so the first thing I'm doing after I get this information, I'm calling Officer Cruz again. Like, look, the company said he was on the Sun Valley Parkway, and this area is Sonoran Desert, blah blah blah. And that's when I started really freaking out because I'm going to Google and seeing what the Sonoran Desert is, and then and I'm hearing that I'm like, oh, my son's out there in the desert. He's not on some little road or something. But I said, but also at the time said, yeah, he got the same kind of information, and he was like, he said we was in the area, we up in the area looking for your son. And he said we're riding up and down Sun Valley Parkway. So that's why I'm saying, you guys, look, if y'all read that report, it says something like they said it was out in the area. Area is not in the desert. It wasn't in the desert. I talked to Officer Cruz himself. Is he and another officer? He does exactly what he told me on that call. He said we're on Sun Valley Parkway. He says this is a long road. And I look it up. He's right. He said it's a road to nowhere. That's what they used to call that road. It's stretching for miles, Mr. Q. You probably saw that stretching for a good
oh
20
yeah,
miles or so. And
absolutely,
and so he's going up and down this road. They said to see if he's stuck on the side of the road. I specifically asked this officer to once I found out it was in the desert that it was located. He was last seen by this guy. They didn't tell me the name at the time, who turned out to be Ken, that he was working with out there. I called Officer Cruz back again. Say, look, can y'all please go out in the desert and look for my son? Remember his vehicle I couldn't really get the color right because I said it's kind of like a bluish, metallic. I was listening to his sister. Sister give me those details of what the vehicle looked like, because I haven't seen it myself. At the time, like really look at it, because you look at this picture, it looks blue to me, right? So she said, no, it's more of a metallic thing and blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to give this officer all the colors, that's close to that color that it could be. And can y'all go out and look? And he told me no, they couldn't do it because it was nighttime. Because you imagine what a military guy hearing that they saying they can't fly a helicopter at night, and we're doing ops and I'm not saying no secrets and stuff like that for military, but we fly ops at night, what I'm saying, with no lights. We do convoys with no lights, without, we have a certain kind of light that you can't see with the naked eye, but we don't have lights. So that's a lie, what I'm saying? So I had to hear that, and I had to take that from the officer. And he said, hey, look, first thing in the morning, we're gonna have a helicopter go out and look for Daniel. I felt relief, right? And then, okay, next officer came in, Officer Haley, I think it was named one of the guys, and he told me that yes, they're gonna go out and do so. But then he called me back and said, well, I wanted, basically it's almost like, don't put it on me, but he said my higher up said they unauthorized it, they canceled the flight, they unauthorized it because they said that Daniel's a grown man, could disappear if he want to. That's what threw everything off. They did not go to look for Daniel. I have a recorded call. I'm telling you guys, I'm trying to find out if it's legal, because I know Arizona's one party state, so I don't have to say I record something, but I record myself on every phone call I have with law enforcement. And that report, they has said so many lies, you guys. And the only thing I have to do is to play these recordings to the public, and you guys will see what really happened on those moments when Daniel went missing. They did not look for Daniel. Their thing was, hey, we put him in this NCIC database, where the officer told me this in the recorded phone call. Because I asked them about the flight. They ended up telling me, oh, we did this flight when I got to Arizona, almost 3 days after Daniel went missing. They used this Phoenix Firebird helicopter. My auntie had called and forced them to do so, I guess. And she was really excited, calling me, yeah, they're going to put a bird in the air, blah, blah. But then, like I said, I called the officer right after that, and he said, just literally on the call, he looking on this quick, you hear him tapping the keys, said, no, I don't see nothing about no flights. We didn't do any, they didn't do no helicopter flight. I think Buckeye told us that just to make the family feel good, that type deal. So that's what the problem was for me in those first moments when I started getting a clue that we've been kind of ran around in a sense. Just getting at the same time, I had to hear from some people in Phoenix to say, why didn't they put out a bulletin that, something on the news or some kind of billboard or something, I guess some kind of paper thing they put up, you guys see now out there with Daniel's color, his vehicle, and all that kind of stuff, description. I had to literally beg for that, you guys. It took them 3 days to put it out. I was fussing with the officer about why they didn't put that out. It was crazy, you guys. There's a lot of strain to go out to. And I've been getting on the learning curve really quick, but it was a lot of stress going on. If you ask that question at the beginning, to get law enforcement to really take Daniel's case seriously, and as serious how we know, because we did our due diligence, and they wouldn't. They didn't do so.
Right. And my best thought about the early contact that you had made with Officer Cruz, going up and down Sun Valley Parkway, that's probably just what they did. Just cover the parkway.
Right.
Take it from one end, we'll take it from Interstate 10, from the south of it, go all the way north as far as that utility station up there, down, and then cover Sun Valley Parkway going south back toward I-10. And I think that's generally what they did.
I'm saying the weird part about this too, Mr. Q, is my aunt, the same aunt that asked for the Firebird helicopter. Now, Daniel's story hadn't been out. They haven't made a bulletin yet. We haven't addressed the public at all about Daniel being missing, right? I was just getting on my computer at the hotel, going on YouTube and not YouTube, but Instagram, Facebook stuff, trying to create a family page. And that's when I started working on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. I build websites, so I know how to do so. And the thing was, my auntie, the same aunt that asked them to do this Phoenix fire, this put a helicopter bird in the air or whatever. She called me back and said she was doing some call around. My family was very engaged on my side of the family, I can say.
Right.
Very engaged, and she was doing a lot of work, leg work, from Philadelphia. And she called this camping. We said, "Hey, look, we're a camping site, maybe," because the story we got at the time is that when we did then, that's when we heard Ken's story. That's when I first heard Ken's story. I heard Ken's story the day of, on the 23rd, from Officer Cruz. He said they reached out to him and they told me verbatim what he said. And so so I ended up saying, hey, basically saying he went this. We took it that he went down this path and made the wrong turn and went out farther in the desert. That's the only understanding we had as a family. And so he made the wrong turn. That was the thing, right? So she called. I think it was probably like the next day on the 24th. She was calling around this camping sites and anything that's close by the area, anything. And she called this one camping ground. I forgot the name of it. Not too far from the White Tank Mountains. The place was closed down because of COVID, and it was something else, some kind of fire or something that was going on in Arizona, and so it was closed down. But they just had the security guy there, for this camp guy. It's kind of campground where they have no facilities like lights and waters for like people who bring their own. Just want to kind of be part of nature, I guess. And so he was there. She called, and this guy says literally, unless law enforcement called. I don't know. That could have been it. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe it's no big deal. But the guy was, before the story even got out, really, they were saying he was asking about this guy making the wrong turn. So, oh, you talking about the guy that made the wrong turn or something like the other? And she was really shocked, like, how did that happen so quick, with that. I don't know if that was law enforcement do it. I hope so. But the guy would not answer the calls about, why. I mean, where did he get the information from? He wouldn't get the information. At the time, he said he didn't talk to law enforcement. But that was one of the things that kind of puzzled her when it comes. So there's a lot of little stuff in the story for us at the beginning as a family where we're like looking at everything. I think that's what caused us, like I said, for me as a father who's still 2,000 miles away at the time. We started hearing little things from my family. I was doing calling and the things I had experienced at the same time that really pushed me hard to start my own investigation. So that's where everything bloomed from. My auntie doing her thing, and that pushes me to start asking a whole lot of questions.
Now, there's a date that pops up in the month of July 19th. And July 19th, Daniel's Jeep had been located at one of the ranchers out there in the desert, I guess moving his cattle through a specific area in the Sonoran Desert, and had located a vehicle that was 20 feet down in a ravine pitched on its side. I guess there was a contact made with the Buckeye Police Department or the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department in regards to this Jeep being found the way it was. They came out there and began investigating Daniel's Jeep. This was on the 19th of July. Nearly a month later after Daniel went missing on June 23rd. And at that time, you get a call, not on the 19th. What day did you get a call from police saying that they believe they had found Daniel's Jeep here in the ravine?
Well, actually, that was a day after. They waited over 24 hours to let me know about that. And I already know how I feel about that insecure on that part.
Right. Okay. Now they went out and began investigating. As they did, took pictures, and this was one of the photographs that they sent you.
That's the first photograph they gave to me. I want to back up a little bit too. I don't call it an investigator. They never told me they was investigating Daniel's case at the time. They told us, in fact, when I hired my investigator, they wasn't investigating at all. And that's why they gave him everything. That's how he got the black box data. They didn't read the black box data. He read it for them. And that's how we got the information about the black box data from Mr. McGrath. But I want to back up with the rancher really quick.
Okay.
Is that this rancher, he's a fourth generation cattle rancher. His land intersects with BLM land, that's Bureau of Land Management, that's federal land. And where this ravine, the picture that they gave me right here, this picture, it looks flat. If the average person look at that photo, they say, hey, that's a flat land. It's actually a 20-foot ravine. The vehicles land across a wash, and not a wash, but I forgot the name of the word I want to use, but water runs right through there. It's almost like a ditch. And it's resting at the bottom of this ravine, this 20-foot ravine. Now, this cattle rancher, the way he explained it to me, and then what puzzled me, and I'm talking ahead too as well, is that you would never find this in the Buckeye Police report. Anytime there's a crime or something happened, anybody can answer this question. Law enforcement always look for eyewitnesses. I need an eyewitness to this thing. I need an eyewitness to that. They would not. They took bits and pieces of this eyewitness who told me first place. We did a recorded interview I did with him. I had set up in my investigation. My investigator happened to be coming by my hotel at the time I was doing this interview with I'm about to say the man's name, but with the rancher, and we said, and he said, yeah, he testified for us what he saw, and he also gave this to the Buckeye Police Department. Now, eyewitness says that he was there on the 17th, 2 days prior to this. He was at this ravine on the 17th. And the reason why he explained to me that they own his land, and his family owned his land for fourth generation, right?
Right.
And he said he raised up there. He knows it like the back of his hand. And he's went through all that, the pain to tell me that is because he saw a lot of things that was wrong. First of all, the vehicle wasn't there on the 17th. He came through there because his cattle, he tracked his cattle, he's a tracker. His cattle come through there to go to this corral that you see, Mr. Q, that's south of this ravine.
Correct.
And they go there, they go southward. This ravine goes south, you guys kind of go downhill as well. And this ravine the water washes off into the Cashapp River. Now, these cattle go through there because they take a cut because it's easy, it's less resistance for them. They come down that ravine and they make it to this corral where they feed them, and also he catch them to send them to market. He also owned a meat company. And so the thing is, he said he came there on the 17th, it wasn't there. Cattle didn't come through yet. And he came back on the 20th, on the 19th, sorry. And when he got there on the 19th, this vehicle was there. And he said one of the things he see cars in the vehicle all the time. We've seen cars in the vehicle. I found a stolen car for Maricopa County, solved the case for them, and a pickup truck. But the thing is, he said he see vehicles, people dump off things in the desert all the time. And he said one thing that stood out from him in this vehicle when he first saw it, it was too clean. Hey, have it been there for 2 days? There would have been desert dust all over it. It wasn't. It's too clean.
Right.
There would have been, he said, when he looked at it, because that's a water runs down that crevice, that vehicle is sitting there like a bridge, you guys. And if that water's coming rushing down there, because it's always flash floods in the desert, it would have left a ring. I don't know if you guys could take trash and all the stuff that comes down with water and imagine if it's almost like a beaver building a dam, all these twigs and stuff get stuck. There was nothing there. It was too clean. The tires was clean, he said. No, he was giving all those things that he saw. So the first thing he thinking, him and this other guy he said he was with, one of his workers, he said they thought it just happened. So they was yelling out for whoever it is they needed some help, right? So of course they end up calling law enforcement, took a picture of the tag, calling law enforcement and let them know that this vehicle there, but he said he thought he heard this on the news about some Jeep they was looking for. And of course, he said he called the Buckeye Police Department, and they said, yes, this is the vehicle that we're looking for, basically. And they was coming out. They took like 2 hours. Another thing I'm going to point out about this vehicle, he said his cattle, if that vehicle was there for that length of time, it was there on when they came through there, his cattle would never have passed that vehicle. His cattle came down that ravine, because these are big horn cattle, guys. I used to see them out there in the desert time. We're out there searching Daniel. And he said they would have tore that vehicle up pretty much. What they would have done, they would have been licking the vehicle if it had dirt on it, because if it was out there for enough time to start collecting dust on it. We look
Right.
at it as being dirty, but it's actually salt, and they would have been licking it, trying to get salt off of it. The other part is the water that was in that vehicle. They would have ripped that thing open, the vehicle open, trying to get that water that was in that vehicle as well. Those 2 cases of water. So there's a lot of things, and there would have been poop droppings all around that vehicle as well. But none of that happened. So that's why he said he know the vehicle wasn't there, because cattle already passed through, and the vehicle wasn't there. After he came back, they obviously passed through, and they didn't stop.
Right. Now, this is a 2017 Jeep Renegade.
Yes.
Got 7 airbags,
And all deployed.
all deployed.
Yes.
You've got Daniel's wallet, car keys, cell phone, clothes,
Work computer.
work computer, all of his equipment there intact. What did police tell you?
Well, this picture is the only picture he had in his hand. Detective Biffin called me out, and I'm telling you, that's what goes back to what you were saying. Here it is. I'm out there in the desert with hundreds. I mean, when I say 100, when I first started the search, you guys, I think our first search, I think about, I'll give or take 14 people showed up. It wasn't big at all. It's the first search. People heard about it. I had one young lady from Columbia, South Carolina, came out. She just happened to just move to Arizona. She's had to come. To make a long story, by the time this vehicle showed up, getting close to that point, end of that month of June, I had hundreds of people showing up to this search. I mean, it'd be 200 deep, you guys. I just put it that way. And so we out there looking at Buckeye. I invited Buckeye every time, you guys. I had set up my website with Buckeye. So that's why I'm saying, even to this day, if you guys go to the website, you'll see it get on the search page for information. You want to put in information, it'll go straight to Buckeye Police Department, guys, because they still attached to my website. I got them there attached to my website, where if any information you guys find, pictures, whatever, you can upload it and it goes straight to Buckeye. Now, they know I was out there. Invite them out there, try to get them to pull security for us out there. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do anything desert wise, and so they know I was looking for Daniel desperately. We out there from supposed to be from 6 in the morning, 6:45 to 11 in the morning, right before it gets hot. And this is in the summertime, you guys. Get up to 118 degrees plus out there, right in that Sonoran Desert. And but people are so loyal, man. We was out there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And like I said, rescue, because I learned about those mines, the prospect mines out there, the vertical mines, horizontal mines, all kind of stuff out there that we had to search. And so Buckeye knew this, and they still waited over 24 hours to let me know. And the answer to that was, I was pissed. I'm like, why didn't y'all tell me yesterday y'all found this vehicle? Because we didn't want to disturb your sleep. This is what they told me now. Disturb my sleep. Like, I'm going to be sleeping? My son, Miss, you don't want to. That was ridiculous. And then they told me, when I got to the department, he said, hey, you want to see the vehicle? Yes. He gave me the police department to come to address, and I GPS from Phoenix, drove out there 40-some minutes away to get the Buckeye, get there to the police department. He didn't let us. They didn't have the respect to even let me in the building. He came out, say, let me know when you get in the parking lot. Basically, he came out from the building and put everything on the hood of his truck, his police truck, and he's like, hey, look, it was that picture you guys see, right? Well, not this picture, the other picture. It was that picture, and it was 2 maps. He sat there and he started off with the map. He's like, look, I guess military guy. He was showing me the coordinates and things where the vehicle was found. This picture right here. And so he said, yeah, that's when I first learned of 20-foot ravine. He said, hey, it looked deceiving, the picture, but 20-foot ravine is at the bottom. They flipped the roll. He was throwing his hands around and stuff. And it flipped the roll and, land on the side. And the good part is, he says, he didn't sustain any injuries because we didn't see with his eyes. We didn't see any blood in the vehicle. And he said, and he was wearing his seatbelt. And we know because the way a seatbelt lock when it's in an accident, right? And so, and then he said, but at the same breath, he said, but we believe he had he showed me that's when he pulled out the outside of the map, you guys. He pulled out this picture, and he says, but we believe that he had a severe brain injury. He had a head injury because of the accident, and he made him kick his way out of the sunroof. Right, he kicked the glass out. That he told me, kicked the glass out of the sunroof. I didn't know at the time that vehicle don't even have a glass in the sunroof, and it's a panel, it's not a glass. And he kicked his way out of the sunroof, and he got out because and when he got out, because he had a brain injury causes you to feel hot. He was going through the science thing with me. It makes you hot, and you shred your clothes off. I was hearing this, you guys. I felt I was about to pass out, man. It was hard for me to listen to all the stuff, but it makes him hot, and he shred his clothes off, and then we found his clothes 3 feet away in a pile. And he shredded his clothes off because he had a brain injury, and brain injury make you hot. And we believe that he walked off and to hide up under a tree to cool off, and some wild animal got him. See, that's exactly what he said. Oh, some wild animal got him. And then he said, you want to see the vehicle? And I thought at the time, he's taking me to this location, right, where the vehicle lying. I wanted to see the scene. No, he said it was down the street at this other police compound they got where they store these vehicles. And he got me there. He made me park in the front, told me to come around the side of the building, let me in this gate. And as we was walking in there, to come around the other side of the building, he stopped and said, hey, Mr. Roberts, I've seen this kind of stuff before. And he's told me the story about some nun or something, I'm sorry, for some lady, some old lady. It was an old lady. The family thought she was missing. Turned out she's a nun and something or other. He said, well, I'm not necessarily saying that, but what if Daniel, he probably just joined a monastery to get away from you guys and join a monastery and become a monk. That's what he told me. So when he told me that, I wanted to react, but I was mind was so engaged in seeing this vehicle. When I heard him say it, I kind of looked at him. And I was like, what do you mean by that? But, I didn't really hold on to it at the moment. What do you mean join a monastery, become a monk? So he took me to further in the compound, and I saw these torn up vehicles behind his gate. He went and put some code in, and the gate opened up. And I don't know what Daniel's vehicle looked like in person. So he pointed and said, that's his vehicle right there. I mean, it looked horrible, you guys. It was, for me as a father, looking at this vehicle for the first time, seeing that damage. Only thing I saw in there, something happened to my son. I didn't see the vehicle. Excuse my spirit. I even said it when you think, but
no, that's okay. No,
but
that's okay.
forget the vehicle. It was I seen something else to me, so I couldn't move. I froze. I'll be honest, I froze. It's like my muscle didn't work or something. Because he was like, "Come on, let's go look." He said, "Go look at it if you want to," and I just couldn't move. So he started walking towards it, and so of course I started following him. And we got about 3 feet away from the vehicle. And he said, yeah, go on and open the doors and look inside and stuff like that, whatever. I just couldn't move. It wasn't I was being smarter than thing, you guys. I just couldn't move. And so he went over and he lifted the airbag. There was an airbag hanging out the driver's door. He lifted up and said, look in there, and something out of other. And then he opened the back door, and he opened the back door behind the driver's door. There was some NYPD bags sitting there on the seat. And I said, hey, what's that? And he said, I don't know. He just took it and dumped everything out. And I can't remember what was coming out of it. And then I said, hey, look, I had enough, sir. I need to get out of here. Because all I saw was my son getting hurt. I just needed a moment.
Right.
So, but that's when he threatened me and said, hey, if you don't get us out, well, Mr. Rouse, you don't get us that pull out of here today, we're going to have it towed away, and you're going to have to pay storage fees. And then I begged him, as a grown man begging another man, look, sir, I'm not from Arizona. I'm just here trying to find Daniel. And I don't know. I haven't talked to his creditors and the people who, he paid for this. He's still paying for this vehicle. I said, I need to find out who they are. And can y'all please hold it for 3 days or whatever? And make a long story short, I convinced him to do so. The next day I found out it was supposed to rain or something. So I asked them, can they put a tarp over it? Because I was going to come up with a tarp. They said, oh no, we'll do it ourselves. Put a tarp over so the rain don't get in it or something, because I don't know what the creditors will say. But that's where it started at, right from that point, Mr. Q.
Right. Now, were forensics ever done on the clothes, the vehicle, any of Daniel's personal belongings? Did the police examine this scene in order to determine whether it was a missing person scene, a crime scene, or anything?
Well, I'm going to say 2 parts of that. The rancher, it goes back to the rancher. The rancher is an eyewitness. He told me a lot about it. I mean, he put all of this in his statements with us. me and my investigator, and he also shared it with Buckeye. And I think that's some of the reasons why you guys would never hear his full statement. You guys will never hear what really happened out there for his perspective. He was there when they came out to the scene. He didn't leave. He told me he didn't leave. He had to change and I found the stuff to be true. I didn't know it was true. He said they have one razor. They came out when a lot of people don't know what a razor is. It's a desert vehicle that we use. I used to use it all the time for my searches. But he said they have this one razor, a white razor. They brought it out there, and he said it was the tires flat. So he fixed the tire for them. He changed the tire for the Buckeye Police Department to fix it. He gave me the whole scene that day. He said, hey, a handful of police officers came out, probably like 4 or 5 vehicles. He said they came out, and he said, because I asked him, I said, they said they had helicopters. He said, no, it wasn't no helicopter. They had no helicopter came out here. He was out there the whole entire time. That's his land. No helicopter. He says that I said, what about these dogs? Because they told me they had tracking dogs. They had cadaver dogs and tracking dogs, and they said we have nothing. This is what the law enforcement told me. I even asked him for footprints because they say if everything off his body from underwear down to sock, because he ain't been facetious, been like, do your son wear boxers or briefs? And I'm like, well, how the heck I would know if my son wear boxers or brief or not, But he said, well, everything off his body from the underwear to his socks. So that's the first thing I asked law enforcement, like, look, well, you seeing the footprints or something leaving the scene. Yeah, that's his wallet there, and where the Buckeye Police Department opened it. I think, or at least I'm thinking so. But he said they didn't see no footprints from the scene. The dogs didn't track no movement from the scene. Daniel coming from the scene. No, they literally told me, right? But this rancher story it wasn't no dogs. He said the dogs was on, and I'm gonna find this. That's why I've got the 4 of you guys coming in, because Maricopa County dogs was in training when that vehicle showed up. And they only had 1 dog to spare. He said they came with 1 dog. Maricopa County was able to send out 1 dog. 1, not plural like they have in the report. 1 dog. And that 1 dog came out at 10 o'clock at night. He told me it was around 10 o'clock that night. And when they came out, because, he was telling me how the desert is at night. Some people think it's really pitch dark, but because of the way the moon and this and that, you actually could see. And he said they came out at 10 o'clock at night with that dog. And they've been out there for less than 30 minutes, and they brought the dog back because they said a mountain lion was stalking it, right? So they didn't really do nothing there. And so now to go back to the question about the forensics been done, I have another recorded call that I'm saying all the stuff I'm sending to you guys of myself, and I've said it like this on purpose. I recorded a call of me, I record myself talking to law enforcement about everything I needed to ask, right? So in this conversation that I had with Detective Biffin, he telling me the reason why. I asked him, I said, hey, do y'all check for blood in this vehicle with some chemicals or whatever the case may be? And he went through the whole stretch to tell me why he felt this wasn't a crime scene, why he felt there was no need to do forensics. So they did not do an investigation. They did pictures. They took, and just not when I went to that meeting a few days after that, you guys, Chief Hall, Larry Hall, I demanded these things. I demanded these pictures. I need everything, because they gave me that 1 picture you guys seen this while ago. I said that 1 picture, I needed more, because I got more pictures from the rancher, promised from the rancher at the time, than I would be getting from law enforcement. So I want everything. And Chief Hall told me we would give you everything, Mr. Robbins, because they was done with Daniel's case, right? They gave me that day he gave me a partial report, and he said once Detective Biffin finished writing up the rest, they'll give me the full report. They're done. They told my investigator again. So I'm saying is, guys, that whole report, everything was just done with Daniel's case. He told me that he didn't doing the forensics in that meeting. They told me again, they didn't see with their eyes. They didn't see no blood in the vehicle. I demanded those. So when y'all see in the report, it said they did some kind of forensics with the steering wheel. They swapped the steering wheel and shifter. I asked them to do something. I said, hey, I know what I asked for. I said, look, I need to know somebody else driving the vehicle. How you know he was driving? This is exactly what the officer said to me, Sergeant Hanneman. He says, it's his vehicle, because obviously he was driving it. I'm like, that don't make sense. What officer police would say that? Just because his vehicle don't mean nobody else wasn't driving it. I said, well, I need to see some fingerprinting or something done on the vehicle. Y'all need a fingerprinting. Since y'all already have it here, because I was supposed to be picking it up, they already gave it to me. Y'all need to do some fingerprinting. And Chief Hall agreed to do some fingerprinting, which they ended up doing that swabbing. So I let it stay there. But like I said, you guys, They didn't do any forensics on that scene at all. Didn't test the clothing. And a matter of fact, even after that meeting, as I was walking out, finished all my questions, I had Mr. Farmer there, Larnell Farmer. He's worked for the NAACP at the time. I'm just getting to know this guy. I didn't know him. But he was listening in. I recorded that meeting as well. And I have receipts for everything, you guys. And when I was leaving that meeting, Detective Biffin stopped me, said, "Ms. Rouse, where you parked at?" Told him what parking space I was in. He said, "Stay right there. I'll be out there shortly." And I waited on him. He pulled up with his pickup truck, the same pickup truck. He got out of his vehicle with his bags in his hand and he said, "Here's your son's things." Right? And I didn't know what to do with it. It was in his bags, evidence tape around or something. And so I said, I just opened up my trunk and tell him to put it in there. Took it back to my hotel room. I hired Mr. Jeff McGrath, as you see in this picture here. And when I hit him at my hotel. I didn't know what to do with this thing. I ain't never opened it or anything. So I gave it straight to him. I said, "Hey, look, they gave me the stuff. I don't know what to do with it." And he was upset when he picked up. We was at the hotel. He was upset, like, "Wait a minute now." He said, "These guys did not, they didn't do any detective work and didn't know forensics at the scene. They didn't do no investigation." And I'm like, "What you mean?" He said, "You see this right here, showed me the tags that's on the bag itself." He's an officer. He's a ex-police officer. He said, you say these check marks, he showed me these boxes that was on there. They had evidence, they had something that I forgot what it was, and safekeeping. And all of these things was marked for safekeeping. Safekeeping means that, for law enforcement, mean that we collect these items from the scene. It's no crime. It's nothing going on. We're not investigating. We're just collecting it for this person or the family to pick it up. So even after law enforcement assessment, Buckeye says he had severe brain injury that shred his clothes off. That's an endangered person. Even after all of that thing they say that out of their mouth, they gave me everything for safekeeping, meaning that Daniel's coming back butt naked from the desert in 118 degrees out there for his things. And his stuff is, y'all can give it to him when he show up. We're done with the case. Mr. Robinson, you can go back to South Carolina, and we ain't have no more leads as far as what they put on their Facebook page. And once I said something about it, took it off. You guys will not find it. I have a copy of it. And they had no more leads. And they also told Mr. McGrath when he came to pick up that stuff, they wasn't investigating this case. And that's where we stand, where I had to fight for 3 months, you guys, to get national attention on this case. And thank God, because God first allowed me to let that happen. And Daniel case, because of that, it caused law enforcement to react the way they are reacting now, defending themselves.
Right. Now, once I guess they gathered all this information and told you that you had to get the Jeep out of their possession, and that happened quite soon thereafter, and told you that you had to come pick up the Jeep and everything else like that. How was the Jeep moved, or how was it picked up?
Well, that's what I'm saying. When they didn't do anything at the scene, they didn't want to do anything. When they found out I had a private investigator, they wasn't too worried about that. It was Officer Angel, I think his name was at the time. I was at my hotel. I sent Mr. McGrath out there to Buckeye to go get this vehicle. It was already mine. They already gave it to me on the 20th. They said they wanted to hold it for a few days to do this fingerprint that I asked for, which ended up doing the swabbing. So he went to go pick it up. The next day, he went to go pick it up. And when he got there, I guess officer to officer, he's to start talking. He told them that he's coming to pick up the vehicle. They had no problem with it. They already talked to Chief Hall. They knew I was coming, send somebody to come get it. And then until he started talking, Ms. McGrath started telling him what he's do, because the guy said, "Hey, what you gonna do with the vehicle?" He said, "Oh, I'm pulling the whole infotainment system out. If you put that picture back, you got because Mr. Q, you may have a picture of that, the infotainment system that he pulled out. He pulled the infotainment system. You see the airbags. He cut the airbags. That right there, that's the infotainment system. He pulled those things out of that vehicle. He was telling them hindsight. That's hindsight, but he was telling them that he's gonna pull the stuff out of the vehicle and he's gonna have it sent to California to some kind of lab. And I'm not gonna put the name because it might be part of the investigation.
Right.
But it's a real sophisticated lab that can get all this data, right? So he got to make it long. Soon he said that, all of a sudden they didn't want to release it. Then he called me and said, "Mr. Rowell, they don't want to release the vehicle." Why is that? Because they already made the arrangement with Chief Hall. And I was coming to get it. is I already gave it to me. They was holding it for 3 days just to do this forensic for me.
Right.
And so, long story, they went through the whole thing and they tried to hold on to it, but then they talked to their city attorney, I'm sure, and legally because it's a couple things legally because they already gave the vehicle to me, they couldn't take it back, right? They couldn't like hold it in their possession. So because of that, I had to sign off for it. They said, well, you had to sign off for it. They had to give me some paperwork, some legal. So they talked to the city attorney, I guess, wrote up some stuff or whatever type of something. And they wanted me to come sign for the vehicle. Okay. I had to drive 40-something minutes to meet Mr. Graff up there to sign for the vehicle for him to pull it out of there.
Hmm.
And so that's how I got the vehicle into where is that located now.
Right. Yeah, because you've got 7 airbags that were deployed. A smashed front windshield on both the driver's side and the passenger side.
No. Only broken, smashed out windows is on the driver's door. That's it. No
On
other
the
glass
driver's
broken.
door. Right.
Door-
Right.
Every glass is exactly intact. They're not cracked, except for the windshield. The windshield, of course, is cracked in 2 places. I mean, dented in 2 places. But the driver door is the only door with glass broken out. Everything else, the
glass
doors are
broken.
intact. Yes.
It's
And it's
interesting.
lying on the ground. Interesting, right?
Very interesting. Just
Yeah.
one side of the vehicle impacted. But when you go
Well-
back and take a look, at this side of the vehicle, on the door side to the rear door, all this is almost like clean.
Right, and Mr. McGrath explained that to me, and this what I'm gonna tell you guys to let you know something as well. The reason why he felt it was a stage event. Vehicle lying on the passenger side, right? You guys have seen no broken glass on the side. The windows intact. First of all, the roof, there was no roof damage at the top up there.
Right.
That railing does not even have a scratch on it. And they told me, oh, it's a rollover. But anyway, and the people that have it at, they see. I'll go in there. You guys, the facility I have that vehicle at, he showed me real rollovers. And that roof would not have supported the weight of the engine. It would have been crushed down if it would have made it on that roof.
Right. Right.
But
I would think
one
so
thing
too.
right. And one thing though is Mr. McGrath explained that door broken out. And because it was lying on the passenger side, you guys saw the glass on the ground. And we just kind of for the news sake would say, yeah, that's the glass from the vehicle. But originally, Mr. McGrath explained to me why he felt that glass was put there. And you can look at it when it looked different, you guys, when y'all saw it on the news, because literally once we found out where the vehicle was, Chief Hall came out, and like I tell you a story about that as well. We had ordinary people coming out there to the desert. You guys, after my searches, and they was going out to the crime scene, stealing the glass, that scattering the glass. They was out there keeping it for souvenirs. I mean, I don't know why people do things like that, but it went out to grab pieces of the glass on the ground, and so it looked like the form as y'all see it. But when you first saw the scene, when I first went out there, that glass was in a shape. Just imagine if a vehicle roll and the glass break out, it's glass everywhere, right? It go all over the place, like little bits and pieces be all over the ground, right? All in different directions and everywhere. No, all this glass was in one unified section there. Like somebody put it there, a glass there, and smash it down on the ground to make it break up a little bit. But
Right.
it's there on the ground. Glass don't break out that way. The other part is with that vehicle, if you find the glass that's in that vehicle, you guys, if it's supposed to be from the window itself, the glass from that window is very little small pieces of glass. You probably can, if you sucked it up, it probably come up less than a handful. It wouldn't even be a handful of glass that was in that vehicle, and it's almost of was in that door. So the thing is, Mr. McGrath showed me that how the impact, that door was open when that vehicle was something impacted that side. That's why you see a curve in that back end. Right? That's what caused the glass to break out. The glass broke out with the door open, and that's why most of the glass didn't get inside the vehicle at the time. Right.
Okay. Yeah, because looking at this, being that the windshield is impacted on 2 sides,
Right.
Would make you think that something hit independently.
Right. And he said that, 2 things, somebody out of use but he thinks something more heavy. It could have been like a boulder or something like, but somebody threw two impressions on both sides,
Yeah,
tried to
yeah, yeah.
impact that way.
That's
That's
the
why it
impression
damaged
we
the
got.
metal. It hit the glass, but then rolled off and damaged the metal as well.
Right, right. That's the first impression anyone would get.
Right,
It's like who took a bat or who took something and smashed the windshield.
right.
You know,
Give it
so
that appearance, right?
give it that appearance, yeah. Because if that had occurred in some way, shape, or form, then the car had to have been either parked or it was in motion and hit something.
Right.
But the way that ravine is pitched down 20 feet deep, from the previous picture that we showed, I didn't see anything that would be high enough to make an impact like that up against the windshield.
Right. Right.
You know, you get a tree out there, or something like that, or rock formation of some kind to say, okay, the vehicle may have hit this particular hard surface in order to have caused the windshield damage.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. But let me come out of this, and I wanted to. What did I want to do? Wanted to. Okay, so we talked about forensics that Buckeye didn't take. Where do we stand with the FBI? I know that Buckeye Police had a meeting with the FBI. They didn't notify you about this meeting. You were told about it by Buckeye. The FBI had mentioned to you, I guess, on a follow-up to that you seem to be doing a fine job. No need for us to step in, on your
Right,
own.
Right.
No need for us to step in. Okay. No need for us to step in. Where do they stand in all this right now? Have they notified you? Have they contacted you? Have you been speaking with them in relation to coming on board, having a second look?
Oh, I would go just to Buckeye, and I could exclude everybody out. And I'm going to talk specifically on FBI. I meant to say, FBI. I reached out to them first in Daniel's case. I reached out to them first when I started receiving death threats. Here I am, a father out there in the desert looking for my son. No, nothing, call nobody names, doing nothing, nobody else, but simply just looking for my son. I started receiving death threats. Things also, I started receiving ransom texts and things like that. So I went to the FBI about it. Went to the FBI about it, reported. FBI said, "Hey, look, they took the report, but said they won't be able to do anything about it because that's an open case with Buckeye Police Department concerning Daniel." And I didn't know how those two things related when somebody directly threatens me. But nevertheless, they told me I had to talk to the Buckeye Police Department and let them know they're going to take this report, but let them know that the FBI need to go look into it. And because they said pretty much they had to be invited in because Buckeye's case or something with Daniel. So, okay, I went to the Buckeye Police Department and let them know that, hey, look what was going on, death threats and this and that, blah, 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 about Daniel, the ransom. Miss McGrath found out it was burner phones they was using because he did, that reverse thing he does with detective stuff. And they did nothing. And then once Daniel's case with the FBI, I realized that Daniel's vehicle was found on BLM land. Is an argument about that. We got people saying it's not. I'm saying it is. I went out there on myself, but you got Buckeye saying it's not. You got certain people saying, but the fact is, let's say it's not. That's why I say, I just gave up to that and say, look, let's say it's not. Let's put that location where Buckeye Sanders is. You can literally take 10 paces to the west and you'll be on BLM land. I mean, you can take 10 steps. What's the difference, right? So to make a long story, I said, hey, look, my son, this stuff happened on BLM land, on federal land. We need the FBI involved. That's why I was pushing for the Buckeye Police Department to do that first thing. I put them on blast with the city managers to everybody, and Chief Hall agreed to get the FBI involved. Right? He said, "Oh, I sent them. They said they'll do a case briefing." That's when you found out about this thing when my attorney wanted me to be a part of that case briefing, send them a letter as response. I mean, directly, same day, less than an hour request before they had this meeting, and they did it behind my back. Of course, like you said, say, hey, Buckeye told me that FBI said, "You, Mr. Robbins, are doing such a great job on your own. We don't need to come in." Right? Okay. It was hard, devastating to me and my family. It was very painful because I went out to the public, telling the public the FBI is going to be involved, and they wasn't. So I ended up going to the. I found some connections, guys. I do a lot of work in the backgrounds, a lot of work is headaches.
I can imagine.
But I met with. I had lunch with the U.S. attorney for the Justice Department, and he and I was discussed some things, and he was going to take a look into some things for me, and he did. He did, and also to advocate for the FBI. But in the meantime, Mr. Larnell Farmer and myself went out to the field office to talk with this agent who did the case briefing with the Buckeye Police Department. And like I told you, somebody asked me on my live and say, because I say racist, I use the racist term. I have bruises on my body. This is something my children wouldn't recognize. A lot of other people may not. Racism. I grew up with racism. I come from the projects. I grew up, and some would call it the hood. So I had to deal with law enforcement's brutality. I know racism when I see it. I can smell it, taste it. I can see racism for what it really is. And so Mr. Larnell and I, he's a even darker complexion. I say this for a reason. He's a much darker complexion guy than I am. And we walking in this field office, right? We see guys, people going in there, and we see in the parking lot, people going in there, getting taken to the building, wherever they're going. We get there, they kept us at the guardhouse. Kept us in the guardhouse. Wouldn't almost locked us in there because they left us in there. The guy came showing up with 2 armed guards with him, 2 other guys with him, right?
Wow.
And I asked him, I about soon open my mouth to say, "How you doing, sir?" Politely. "Hey, how you doing, sir? I'm David." And soon as I could say, "Dad," couldn't get the Robinson part out. He, "I know who you is," and going off, and it make a long story. It was real ugly.
Right.
I thought we was gonna get arrested just for us coming in there to say, ask questions. And so make a long story, they didn't give us anything. We left out of there. And so my next approach, like I said, with that, the U.S. attorney for the Justice Department, and I'm sure he did some things in the background, but because I've been hearing because I think I heard it on News Nation or some of the other entities about the FBI said this, but the point is, you guys, nobody ever came to me. Nobody interviewed me. Here I am, the guy, the chief of my family. I'm the head of my family fighting. You don't see anybody in the public. I'm not saying it in a bad way, you guys. You don't see anybody fighting in my family for Daniel like this. And I'm not saying it bad, like my family is not doing anything. What I'm saying is I'm Daniel's father. So if anybody would come about this case, this man is out here fighting for his son. He's out in the public's eye. He's here. He's working his case. Who do you go talk to? You talk to that father who's right here in your city, and they did not so much as FBI so much as interviewed me, right? Not even interviewed me. So I asked them to interview me to talk about what I have, and that law enforcement have. They know what I have. They have it. They should have it. Just things that you guys don't even know. It's so much y'all guys don't know, and I'd be so desperate or tempted, I'm going to say, to release a lot of stuff to the public. But the thing is, because I don't want to mess up nothing, I've been trying to hold on to it. But they know some things, but they won't interview me. They really won't interview me because they know I know some things, and there will be some things that they can't help but do something about. And that's the only way I can take it. So I don't get law enforcement. So you ask me about FBI, no, they're not helpful. I'm understanding they did another look into the Buckeye Police Department. What Mr. Farmer is really upset with from the NAACP standpoint is that Buckeye take a lot of credit for everything. You guys seen the elaborate new police report they put out, Mr. Q. You probably seen that as well. It's very well written. It's spread it out with all these officers. Like, for instance, like we use an example, Officer Cruz and this other officer, I forgot his name that night, who was running up down Sunville Parkway. They could write 2 separate reports now. All of a sudden now they separate those reports, right? 2 separate reports make it seem like it was more effort than what it was, right? On that day. Right. Then what they did is they started adding a bunch of fillers. Like you said in the interview that you said, I wanted to address that, by the way, when you played that. That was very upsetting to me. I didn't show that on that interview, but it's very upsetting to me because when I first learned that Buckeye was using things like, oh, Daniel, he was searching. I mean, they really after Daniel's credibility, you guys, or make him seem like he was worried and stuff. And he had these things going on. That's what public will believe. He was Tempe explosion. I Google a lot of stuff. I'm sure everybody in this who's listening Google anything. It could be somebody heard say, "Man, you heard about this explosion in Tempe?" Well, I don't know. Google tip explosion. I haven't seen this thing. First of all, I gotta get this thing. I ain't verified this. I don't trust nothing police put out. You guys, I have to validate it, but I haven't validated. But I'm taking their word for it right now. There's nothing wrong with him, whatever he Google search, right? And so if it was him, the other part that bothered me, they have never taken the thought of, is one thing they said with the search thing as well. They never took a thought that somebody else could have had Daniel's stuff and search like delete Instagram. Who looks up how to delete? It tells you if you're on Instagram, it tells you can just like on Facebook. You don't have to Google that. He's smarter. This man is a scientist. He don't need to Google how to delete his page if you want to delete his page. That was something for somebody did it who took his pictures off that page. My family's still trying to figure out why all his pictures were taken off. So I guess Caitlin wouldn't show up on there. Why these pictures taken off his Instagram page out of the day after he went missing or the day he went missing. We could not really verify that as a family when it happened, but we know all his pictures missed. But his profile, if you look today, his profile picture is still there. It was never the Instagram has never been deleted, but somebody who ever had his phone and deleted his stuff put on there because they know somebody gonna go looking. Oh, he deleted. He looked for a search. How to delete his Instagram. I mean, who does that? I mean, Daniel's a scientist. He don't need to Google something to say how to delete a Instagram. He just delete it. I mean, Facebook. You probably did this too, Ms. Q. On Facebook, I ended my page. Sometimes I get tired of Facebook. I'm like, man, I'm not talking to these people for a while. I'll delete my page for 2 months and come back because it don't never really go away. You just sign back in, right? So he's smarter than that. So they don't. But I'm saying that's why I'm saying, you guys, it's a lot to this picture that the public may not know. But I have so many things, you guys, that would point up. The circle always go back to Buckeye. Somebody in that department has a lot to do with what's going on, and that will be exposed at due time.
Well, the 3 police officers that you were talking about, you've got Officer Cruz, Officer Thatcher, and Officer Cook. That is embodied in the report.
But you don't see Officer Haley, do you?
Officer Haley is also in the report as well.
The new one, okay.
Because he was the one to turn it over to Detective Biffin.
Right.
Right.
But originally it wasn't there. Right.
Right. So I know you're tight for time. I did say that we would go for about an hour, and we're definitely over that. Yes. But in final words, Mr. Robinson, I know that you are currently still obviously looking for Daniel, and you've built a website specifically for that. I'm going to leave, and I guess the next couple of minutes for you to do, to say to our audience here tonight, what help do you need? How can we help you? So I'm gonna let you have the floor on that one.
Well, I think I really appreciate it. First of all, thank you so much, Ms. Q, for even having me on. You're no stranger. You're one of the guys, the top persons that helped me out at the beginning. A lot of people don't know the legwork that you do in the background too. You're not just a person that came out and do this. I mean, you did the I forgot the Summer Wells, I think the name was. You did so many other cases as well to help people. And I know from my perspective, like I told, and I know I'm talking a little more, but Crime Con, they was asking me about Crime Con, how do Crime Con help? I told them it's a true crime community. What you do, Mr. Q, that actually was basically a lot more than, even though I know people look at it and say, man, you on this big national thing and this and that, blah, blah, blah for Daniel. It's more to me, is the content creators like you guys who talk to the everyday, ordinary people directly. And you're not only just doing it for anything other than to try to help other people's families, as the way I take it. Because you not just went further than just say, hey, we don't talk about the Daniel Robinson story. You went into digging some stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all went to dig into some things and give some lead weight to what's really going on, to dissect some stuff. So you go a little further to actually not just talk about it, but try to find out what's happening. So thank you so much for having me on and doing that. But what I will say too is the Daniel Robinson website, you guys, of course, is the first thing I put out for my son, is to bring awareness. So the website is for awareness in Daniel's case. When there's updates, I need to do better at that, especially. There'll be more content on there about updates. I need to go update it now. But also the website is there for ways you can help. As you guys know, you can see up there is sign to petition. The petition was there at the beginning of this whole efforts to find Daniel after I realized the law enforcement wasn't helping you guys. And I know from day one, a lot of people think that I'm beating up on the cops. No, I am not. Matter of fact, my stepbrother, he's this crazy part about it. Now we talk about some other things with that. He's a retired detective for DC cop, Washington DC, and so I have law enforcement in my family and other places too. And I was even joining the academy. Me and the detective I'm talking about, we'll join the police department together. I just fell out of it because I found out rookie cops get shot in DC. So I quit. Make a long story, I believe in law enforcement. So it's not beat up, but that's it. Definitely sign a petition is for justice for that. I needed to push law enforcement to do more. And you guys were signing that petition. I had probably like 5, 6, I call it voices, 5 voices on that petition, and it grew to thousands now. And you can continue to sign a petition because I utilized that when I talked to the Justice Department. When I had that lunch, look, I got the weight of all these people supporting what I'm doing. I'm fighting for my son. And then it graduated to advocacy for other families. I got tired and I started looking at the details of finding out Buckeye Police, they didn't have a policy to tell me I had to wait 12 hours. You're supposed to be able to report immediately. That opened my eyes that's the reason why a lot of families have missing loved ones and never found, because law enforcement's actions are very slow. They come with these excuses. I don't know if it's laziness or no empathy for others or apathy or whatever the case may be. It's something going on with law enforcement. And that's the reason why we have hundreds of thousands of people missing every year in this country, because there's no action at the beginning. So I started changing that update to say, look, we need more action for other missing loved ones. We're going to find solutions to this missing person cases. And then it kind of graduated to other things. So to make a long story, that petition, if you guys can sign up, put your voice to that petition, that's saying that you're supporting everything I have been doing from day one. You don't have to put your voice there unless you actually believe that. I've been doing everything I can from day one to find my son, and also what I want to do is also advocate for other people, right? So, okay, y'all always can make sure you do that. The other part is on that website as well is I'm trying to think of the other one I'm going to use next, but the other one would be, I'm going in my mind now, Mr. Q, because
I know it's a lot. Oh, you've got flyers on here too.
Right. So the other part is, but not just the flyers, but y'all want to get up to the flyers. But the second part is volunteer to search, you guys. That would be like if I'm having my searches, you guys will see that button active. You also have the donation button, you guys. When I was out there in the desert, I would never have been able to do 49 weeks of searches or 32,000 acres of land out there, you guys. 35,000 acres of land out there. But I wouldn't have been able to keep my boots on the ground in Arizona. I was able to get a 1-bedroom apartment to keep my boots on, to keep fighting for Daniel. I would not have been able to do that without y'all guys donating the way you guys have done. And so I'm really appreciative. I wouldn't have been able to get the billboards, all the stuff, you guys, because I'm living off of my retirement, you guys. And so the thing is, so I was really grateful for you guys to help. I was using a lot of my money, and you guys was helping me along, and you guys still continue to do so. So that's a donation button. And also the events tab I had for a day of remembrance. You guys probably remember I had the events for other families to highlight missing person cases. That's how I met Miss Navarro. You guys can remember Alicia Navarro, Jessica Nunez, her mother. That's how I met Jessica Nunez, I'm to say, and her daughter Alicia, who was missing at the time, but thank God she's found, and she's found alive and well. But the events is for the families and things, so you guys can see the new events that will be coming up for other. Me and my team and I will be putting together in the future. The volunteer in other ways tab is to help you guys also for the Daniel Ross Foundation, which you guys, I could talk about this some other time with the Daniel Ross Foundation, so you guys can understand why it's on pause right now. But for lack of having that time to do so, I can tell you that the volunteer other ways will help towards that, and also help me in my efforts to find my son, because I need people with different skill sets that can help. So if you guys have skill sets and things like that, volunteers are the ways you can find out how you can help me in my efforts to find my son, and also to help other families. Then you got to print the flyers, you guys. I've been asking everybody they can please help me get these flyers distributed out there. I started the flyer distribution when I was out there in that desert. It started off with a city search, and then God asked me to build these flyers the way I did, and I designed them a certain way. You guys know, to get the flyers out all across the country. I have gotten thousands upon thousands, guys. I lost track. Thousands, trust me, all across this country. CrimeCon was a good help, as well as the volunteers that come out every Saturday with me to go in the cities and take flyers out to their cities and their states and things like that. And all the people that when I started my mailing flyers out to people, you guys can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com and request flyers. And I sent out these boxes of flyers. I wish I had one next to me. I sent out these boxes of flyers to you so you can pass in your community, because my goal is to have eyes and ears everywhere, and also to get awareness out there for Daniel. And also, on top of that, if somebody have seen Daniel, like say he escaped some kind of way, he's held in some kind of situation, somebody can actually see because they got the flyer right there. So the point is, it's very important to get those flyers out there. You can request those flyers, or you can use that tab that you see up there to say print the flyer. That is a form of donation, you guys. If you guys want to donate, please hit that tab up there that says print the flyers. It's a PDF will come up. And, you know, I always tell people I prefer them to be like this, because there's a reason why I made them so small. And I told you guys it's because it's easy to handle. I had them big as a sheet of paper and laminated. Nobody's gonna put that in their pockets or their pocketbook if you're a young lady, or the homeless population is not gonna be carrying that around, or a bunch of them around with them. It made it easier for people to have several of them and carry it around, and they can have this picture of Daniel and everything else, the information to share with other people. And that's the reason why I do it. But on top of that, you guys can, if you're doing that on your own, it could be any way that you like. I just want the flyers out there, and that's a form of donation. And I just want to say thank you so much if you're doing it that way, because I know it costs for ink. I know how much I'm paying for these flyers. These flyers are $500 a box, you know. So the thing is, I know how much ink it takes and money it takes to print things out. So I'm really grateful if you guys can help me get these flyers out there one way or the other, print or request. And I'm grateful to do that. So that's the ways you help. Lastly, Mr. Q, I know I'm talking a lot and I'm putting a lot out. Lastly would be the mail-in protest. As you guys know, I'm fighting to get law enforcement to get these forensics off my hand. They need to process the vehicle the right way, do the job correctly. If this was a police cruiser, you would never hear them at a crime scene where this officer went missing at. They say, well, we swapped the steering wheel and the shifter, and that's it. They call that forensics, you guys? No, that would never fly. We have red transfer paint that need to be checked. We have the airbags that Mr. Q showed you.
Right.
My investigator cut out of there that need to be processed for blood, need to be processed for other people's DNA, whatever the case may be. And also the clothing that was found 3 feet away from the vehicle. Family, we do not identify these clothing. They're saying it's Daniel. Let's see if it's Daniel's clothing. See if it's indeed his clothing, and also check for blood, as well as airbag
Residue.
dust, whatever. Yes,
Yeah.
because the airbag hits, all that stuff gonna be embedded in his clothes. If
Right.
if that's Daniel's clothes and they don't have that, he was never in that vehicle. And so it's a lot of details to answer a lot of questions about that vehicle, the red transfer paint as well, like I said, and so much other things about that vehicle that need to be processed, and the clothing, etc. And also take notice of this apartment information that we found out about Dane's apartment. All that need to be done. So that's what the mail-in protest is about, you guys, because they will not forget. They will not forget that I have thousands of people having my back and showing interest in this case. This case is not a far from a cold case, and where it's not going to be a cold case if I have people like you backing it. You guys sending these letters, thousands of letters going into them every day to make their eyes turn blue. Now, why these letters is constantly coming in, this bothers them. Because they're not going to forget who Daniel Robinson is. They're not going to forget that we have a grassroots movement of people behind that's fighting for me to find my son. And we're going to get them to do the right thing. And they're going to process this vehicle. They're going to process the clothing, and they're going to do the right thing. We're going to find these answers that goes along with the hard evidence that we found that we need the circumstantial evidence to go with this hard evidence with the forensics get done. We can get some real answers to what happened to Daniel Robinson. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. And I know that it's never enough time when you do a live like this, because there's just so much to cover.
It is. So we'll do it again. Yes.
A lot. Yeah, definitely. I was about to ask you, when would you like to come back? And I know your schedule is inside out, upside down, to the left, to the right, and then somewhat. When can you come back, so that this way, there was some specific things that you had spoken to me about concerning the reports. There was a 54-page report, and then there was a 128-page report. And I know that there's a lot in there to unpack. And I wanted to get an opportunity to go over those reports with you, along with some Q&A that we can do with the audience that has probably got questions beyond anything else on their mind as well. But once again, David, thank you so much for cutting some time out your schedule to do this with us tonight.
Thank you. I want to say something to Danny real quick. Asked that I think that's said what they want to send the letters to. Go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. On the front page, you will see down. You see the PDFs there. There's a sample of how the PDFs look. But you see the 5 PDF buttons there. Say PDF. Go say PDF download links. You click on those links to get those PDFs. But once you print them out and you're ready to mail them off, the address will be below that. You mail one would go to one set or whatever you send, it would go to the Buckeye Police Department. The other would go to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. It's addressed to Sheriff and Zone for the Maricopa County, and it's addressed to Chief Hall of the Buckeye Police Department. However, those names are going to change pretty soon, because those two guys are leaving their departments, their respective departments. Chief Hall is retiring this month.
Good.
And Sheriff and Zone is not going up for re-election, so he's quitting this month. So so that's 2 changes that's going to happen in the department.
Maybe it may give us an opportunity to work with someone that's got 2 brain cells to rub together and
right.
get something done.
And so people should know I'll be in Arizona this month as well. Because of that, whenever that time comes, when I find out who these new people are, I will be knocking on their door. So I will be there. There's 2 things I don't like. I don't like writing letters. I do it, but I don't like writing letters, and I don't like making phone calls, but I do it. I like to be in your face. So that's how I approach law enforcement. I want to be in their face. So that's why I was asking everybody to help me keep my boots on the ground, because I'm more effective when I'm looking at you. You can tell me anything on the phone. Hey, I'm in South Carolina. Hey, you guys, are you out there looking for my son? They're like, they're on the phone. Yeah, we out here right now. We ain't seen him yet. I mean, but in my mind, they out there when he said this, he out in the desert right now looking. So I don't believe stuff that I don't see. So I need to be in your face, and you're going to look me dead in the eye, like I did Ken when he told that bogus story about that 15-minute thing. I didn't listen to these people. When I found out this story when I got in Arizona, that's the first person I went to go see. And I went to look in this man's eye. You tell me something that I know about my son differently, Right. Oh, you telling me my son did this, that it makes sense to me. You're going to look me in my eye and tell me that, So that's what that was.
Yeah, that was Ken Elliott that works for Weber Water Company.
That's right.
The gentleman that was supposed to have met Daniel out in the Sonoran Desert, which was well site 2, and came up with one little bit of a side story that changed on a number of occasions that put doubt in my mind about his credibility. Yeah, definitely.
And also the sense it don't make sense. I actually physically, again, I like to do things physically. I physically walked his story, and it didn't make sense.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that said, when can you come back? Let's do a part 2.
We'll discuss it on the back end. And the reason why I had to look at a calendar, I can't make a commitment right on the exact date and time right now. But yes, we'll definitely do it when we get off. And
good.
I look at my calendar and we'll make a time.
All right, sounds good.
Yes,
good. Thank you so much, David, for your time tonight. And I'm sure that the audience is, they got their prayers up, prayer hands in the audience, and
Yeah.
Love for
Thank you.
Daniel and the love for you and your family, on your quest to find him. And I
Yeah.
believe we will. We
Yeah,
will.
thank you, Danny. I really appreciate everybody. Thank everybody on chat, since I really appreciate you guys. You know, grassroots with family, and I know, Mr. Q, your listeners, they're family. I know how you feel about them, and you know, so if they're your family, I know you say I'm your family as well, so they're my family too.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely. Okay, David, we'll be talking.
yes, sir.
All right. Take care.
All right, thank you, everybody.
All right. Mr. David Robinson, father of Daniel Robinson, who went missing June 23rd, 2021. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for an exclusive live, an update to the Daniel Robinson case. The search continues. Our work continues. And for those that are brand new, that are just joining us, for tonight's live and the story, welcome, because we've been at this for quite some time. We'll continue to work with the Robinson family behind the scenes and keep you posted for any updates. We still have those reports to go over, which is going to be in our next segment with Mr. Robinson. And we're just going to, get that scheduled and get it back up here and cover the information. There was a lot that I wanted to really share with you in terms of some map work, some locations as to where Daniel was seen from his home all the way to the job sites that he worked that day he went missing. The quote unquote, the girl that was involved in the case, Miss Caitlin, the gentleman that was also seen out in the Sonoran Desert and allegedly gave his side of a story, Mr. Billy Hayes, acting like he was law enforcement out there in the Sonoran Desert, asking Daniel where was the best place to shoot for firing practice or something like that. All that's to come and more. So I would consider this as being the first live of the year, 2024, just the beginning of an update that we're working on. This will be done in segments. And all of you who joined us here tonight for this special live with Mr. David Robinson, father of Daniel Robinson, thank you. Thank you for taking your time out to be with me. And thank you, Mr. Robinson, for sharing once again Daniel's story. We're getting into the details because the details are going to tell us the facts, and the facts tell us the truth. With that said, much love to everyone. We will do commentaries in our next upcoming session with Mr. David Robinson. I didn't do any commentaries because I know that there was a lot to cover here tonight. But thank you all for being able to take some time out of your schedule and fit it into our time here tonight. With that said, I'll catch you on the next one, which will be very, very soon. Much love, be well, and stay blessed with Godspeed.